So Nadia here, I will let her do all the full introduction, but just a couple of things. She is a PhD candidate here at Concordia, and she is now associated with the CIPE, so we're really excited about that. She also has a very funny and like a very fancy title of, and can you tell me exactly what the title is?
I will become public scholar. So we have this training in May, but as of May, I'm part of a group of 10 PhD candidates who will be representing Concordia in different events and will be sharing our research in different areas. So I'm very excited about
this. It's very exciting, but
it's really a great opportunity.
Even though she still is in training, she's in the media quite often because her research is of current, like very current relevance. So we will get to hear a little more about that. But I think that without further ado, I'll just let you go. And yeah.
So, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for inviting me to present my research. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a glimpse on what I've been working on. My topic became more and more complex as things were happening, right? So, and I'm really happy to have the opportunity to discuss this with you, to present this and have your feedback, because the more I have feedback, the more I have, you ask me questions that I don't have answers to yet to them, the more I can really focus on my research. So the influence of social media on the integration and the inclusion of newcomers in our society. It really started in after Paris attack in 2015. So what I did is for the last 14, 15 months, I've been focused on my laptop and looking at all the things that were shared online and collecting reactions to terror attacks that led to high level of online reactions. So we had Paris attacks, then we had violent sexual assaults, and the other, of course, cities in Germany, Brussels attacks, Nice truck attacks, Berlin, Quebec shooting, and the recent Edmonton sexual assaults. So I've been collecting all these reactions, and of course, after each of these attacks or assaults, we have thousands of images shared online. So we have tears shared, we have reactions, we have slogans, we have positions shared online, and we were living each of these events while just being on social media. So whatever's happening everywhere, we're actually feeling this through the images that were shared on social media. I'm going to share with you some of the examples. After Paris attack, with everything that was shared online, we had a huge division here in Quebec, and people were supporting the refugees, the arrival of the 35,000 refugees, and the people who were against that. And we had what the media dubbed the battle of petitions. We had thousands of people signing with, but more people signed against the arrival of the refugees, and they actually expressed themselves through the comment feeds and the petitions. So it was really a very, very violent reactions to what was happening. After the sexual assaults, we had the hashtag refugees that became also trending on social media. So we had almost 1,000 women who reported being sexually assaulted in Cologne and in several cities in Germany. But again, what was happening in Germany, we lived it here in Canada. So Yegida, the group from the far right wing, picked this and took it as an argument to stop the refugees from arriving in Canada. And we had reactions such as, no Syrian rapist and terrorist in Canada, stop this madness now. Just check the Germany news, the Syrian refugees that went to Cologne are terrorizing women, they are nothing but trouble. And after the recent events in Cologne, I have completely switched from supporting the refugee causes. Here we have two very interesting points. First of all, the attackers were not even refugees, Syrian refugees, so they were from Iraq, and from Tunisia. So they were not even associated to any of the Syrian refugees. Most of them were born in Germany, and yet we had the hashtag here in Canada that affected Canadians and their position toward the refugees. The other thing is that I interviewed some youth in Germany, and I shared with them the reaction that was happening here in Canada on social media, and they were extremely surprised because in Germany, after these assaults, they focused on how to protect women from any rape, regardless who the rapist is. But in Canada, we really focused on refugees, rapists, and associating this, even though the refugees were not the ones who did this, these attacks. And what is also more threatening and worrisome is that recently we had this sexual assault happening in Edmonton, and the reaction came back to what happened in Germany. And now in Edmonton and Alberta, people are reacting against the refugees because one Syrian refugee actually did this assault. But they are going back to something that was not true, but was shared by social media. So we have this public memory that is coming back to something that is not true, but shared by the media, and now is affecting their reactions. And some of the reactions we have here, for example, these are the pedophiles Justin Trudeau wrote here. So we have all this mix that's happening because what is shared on social media. We also have, of course, the big head propaganda that started in December 2015 with the big heads on the borders to prevent, in Belgium, to prevent Syrian refugees from crossing the border. Then it went to Hungary, and we also had this problem in the same mosque where we had the shooting recently. After the shooting, we also had the images. So we lived the shooting, even though we're here in Montreal, we lived what was happening in Quebec through the pictures that were shared. So we saw tears, we saw the victims, we actually lived the sadness and the cruelty that was happening there. But also the media used this event in a way that, again, this is my interpretation, and each one of us can interpret what's happening on social media differently. But when I read, I really thought it's safe in Canada. It's as if Muslims are not safe. And this, for me, I'm a Muslim, and I feel that why you're saying that, it's one incident that happened in Quebec for different reasons, but now we're generalizing, it's spreading fear within Muslims without any really valuable reason. So again, people reacted, and we have, of course, the reaction of the government, who were extremely supporting, and we have the hashtag #ToSunni. So they are stressing on unifying, like supporting the Muslim community and showing that everyone, like Quebec and Canada is united. And we saw the amount of people that, a number of people who were actually went to the streets and supported what was happening. But if you look at these, and I took this from Twitter, so if we click on each of these give us really a very positive image, right, of how Canada is supporting the Muslim community. But if we click and we just open the comments that were happening under each of these tweets, we see the reactions of people. We have people who are divided, and people who, even after we had 6 victims who were killed, and innocent victims, people were still blaming Muslims and blaming Trudeau for bringing Muslims. So for instance, we have the interactions happening between people, the conflict. So we have, for example, here, you cannot read it, I'm going to read some of these. So sorry for the death at the mosques. So the reply is, sorry that the mosques exist. Another example, merci Monsieur Trudeau, vos paroles font du bien. Es-tu content, tu vas dans des mosquées et tu amènes ça dans notre pays. Another one says, la faute est au gouvernement, etc. So the thing is that people are, despite the fact that we've been welcoming Syrian refugees for the last year and a half, we still have people who are against that, and we don't see this. We see that when you go deep into the comments that are shared online. And when we ask ourselves why people are scared from Muslims, and we look at what is shared also online. So this is a conference that was prepared by the Manning Center in Ottawa, but this one was actually removed after the shooting because people reacted very strongly against having it, because it was not the time and it was really adding fuel to the fire. And our youth are exposed to all of this, right? So our youth have access to all this, these interactions, whether they are Syrian refugee youth, post-society immigrants, youth supporting, youth against, or youth who have no idea where they should stand. So if we want to think about how our youth interpret these messages, because each one of us can interpret these messages differently, and based on their interpretation of things, you can predict what could happen and act based on that. So let's take one of the youth, and this is one of the examples that I took from one of the comments under the petitions. I'm not against helping the unfortunate. These Muslims are like the plague, treat them as such. So if this is a Canadian youth who is reading this youth can interpret this as if the refugees, Muslims, are actually victims. So he would predict that these comments will actually hurt them. So his behavior would be to help them. But if this youth interpret this as, oh my God, the refugees, Muslims are really terrorists and rapists, and will predict that they will invade my country, the normal reaction is to keep them out of Canada, right? The same thing would happen with a Syrian refugee who would be reading the same comment and would be interpreting it as this does not represent all Canadians. So she will anticipate that many will welcome me with open arms. So she would be ready to make friends with the whole society. But if she interprets this as the Canadians think that I might be a terrorist, and most probably they will not accept me, she will exclude herself from the group and won't even try to do any effort to approach them. If this youth, and I'm focusing on the whole society youth, wants to help, this youth needs to have some empathy towards the refugees and also toward the group who is part of, or the other groups, and try to understand how these other youth could be thinking, or how could they be interpreting these messages, and based on how they're interpreting. So, for instance, if he sees this young refugee excluding herself, he might be that if he has an idea about what she could be thinking, he could have an idea about the problem and approach it differently. Instead of saying, I'm a refugee, they only want them to stay in their own groups. So what I did is that I recruited 42 participants from different countries. I had 22 from Ontario, Quebec, and 20 from European countries and from Lebanon, between 16 and 24 years old. I had 126 interview with them with about 150 hours of data. And I'm going to share with you that I received from the participants. So the first thing that everyone said is that social media is the main source of information that most of you use. And this is something that we already know, but I want to stress on that because this is where they are getting all the information. The Syrian refugees are dehumanized on social media. Syrian refugees are no longer represented as people, they are looked at as problems to deal with. So if we look at in general to the image that is described on social media, we have Syrian refugees are invaders, terrorists, or potential terrorists. So even if they are not now, maybe, most probably, they will become rapers or potential rapers and parasites because they are taking our resources that could be actually used to our own people, with our own people, to help our own people. Many youth believe that their engagement is much more effective in the field with refugees than online fighting for them, because simply they think that the opposers are so close-minded that they don't want to get into any conflict online. So what happens is that, why do we have the opposers much more, we see as if they are much more vocal, simply because the supporters, they don't want to get into this conflict. So we have this image of all the negative things that are happening and the actions that are happening, even though the opposers are the minority, not the, but what we have online is different from what we have often, like in reality, because the supporters are not active enough online. Negative online reactions resemble hate speech, but most are speech of fear. Negative online, okay, so if we have a whole society who reads the negative online posts and has no or little contact with Syrian refugees or Muslims, the result is scared whole society youth, which would lead to exclusion. The same thing happens if a Syrian refugee who never ever met a Canadian, or only a few Canadians, and reads all these comments, when he or she meets a Canadian, they will be scared because they have no idea who will be with them or who will be against them, and that would lead to self-exclusion. I asked the participants, who do you think we have, if you want to describe the people who are behind these comments, how can you describe them? So they said weak, unexposed, vulnerable, selfish, inconsistent, manipulated, ignorant, distracted by fake threats, scared, racist, emotional, against change, etc. And then I asked them, okay, why? Why do you think these people are weak? Why do you think people can be manipulated? Why do you think people are racist? So let's try to understand what's happening to have some empathy towards these groups. And this is for another workshop. I cannot tell you about the result because I don't have time. I have to move to another thing. So this is another thing that hopefully I will be sharing with you. Now, why I asked the participants also, why are you immune to negative social media content according to you? So you're talking about others who are racist, but you are not. So why? What happened? What happened? And based on these participants, they said that they were critical of what they read online, that they were empathetic towards refugees, and that they had the opportunity to help. But the thing is that being immune is great, but we also need youth to become agents of change. We need them to play a role in this integration and inclusion of Syrian refugees, because we have good examples. We have the 3 guys here, the friends who, after Paris attack, they went into one of the metros here in Montreal, and they stood the whole day saying that Muslims and non-Muslims are united. We have also what happened after the Quebec shooting. So we know that youth, they can play a huge role in this. But in order to do that, we need to train our youth to critically analyze media, particularly social media. The thing is that we already have this included in the recommendations listed in the Governmental Action Plan 2015-2019 for the prevention of radicalization in Quebec. But we need to focus more on what prompts inclusion. They have to be critical about what are the messages that will lead you or lead us to exclude the other. We need to help them to become empathetic towards all groups within our Canadian family, including groups with positions opposing their own. So they need to understand why the other think that way in order for them to actually have a dialogue with the other, not only empathetic towards refugees, but also groups from their own, members from their own group. And we need to train them to become leaders, because they think that they are immune, but this is, as I said, is not enough. We need them to play a role, a very active role in helping and in being there, in having this, even if maybe a balance between what's the negative that's happening online and the positive, but to play a role and give another image. And that's it for now. So thank you.